Hey there, A's Day fans. Welcome to our Friday edition of our show. Once again, I'm your host, Joe Grata. I want to thank each and every one of you for kicking off your weekend by listening to everything we've got to say about athletics baseball. Today is Friday, June 6th, and on today's show, we're going to briefly recap what went down over this past four-game series against the Minnesota Twins before moving ahead to preview their next upcoming series at home in West Sacramento. The Baltimore Orioles will be flying in to kick off a three-game set tonight, 7:05. We will get into a little bit of preview of game times, pitching matchups, hitters to watch. You know the drill if you've been with us, and if not, we will be sure to break it down as we always do. Then we'll cap off today's show by going over some notable transactions and some injury updates. Again, thank you all for stopping by today. Once we hit the opening music, we'll get right into today's show. Holy Toledo, let's go A's. All right, thank you, A's Day fans, for tuning in to today's show. Before we jump into our recap of their series against the Twins, just want to remind you where you can find us on our social media accounts, on Instagram at A's Day Baseball Podcast, on X, formerly known as Twitter, at A's Day Baseball, our YouTube channel at A's Day Podcast, and to become an official subscriber, be sure to check out our Patreon site, patreon.com/A's Day for just $2 a month. You'll be entered to win monthly A's Day t-shirts, giveaways, A's autograph memorabilia, future A's game tickets, and so much more as we are able to grow this platform collaboratively. All right, let's jump right in. And this is going to be a little bit different today, this series preview or series recap, excuse me, because it just seems like these last 3 weeks there's been a lot of negativity around this team's performance on the field. And, I think just to keep on dwelling on it, it's just not going to really do anybody any favors. And I think you, the audience at home, I don't know, kind of sound like a broken record with some of these results. So I'm not going to get into a deep dive into the first three games just because it was kind of some of the same old as of late, as the Twins did take the first three in this series by scores of 10-4, 10-3, and 6-1. So just not very competitive, very tough to watch. And it seems like the Twins are that type of team this year, which I was very impressed with, by the way. I like their brand of baseball. It seems like all of their phases of the game are kind of coming together, and they're starting to play better baseball as of late, too, as well. It just the pitching's been carrying them, which is something odd. I know of years past, I know the Twins have somewhat of a history of decent pitchers through their franchise, but I do know more times than not they've been known for the sluggers that they have and putting up offensive numbers and hitting some home runs. And you think of all the guys of old like Torrey Hunter, Jock Jones, Justin Morneau, Joe Mauer, guys like that. I mean, I can keep going on and on. So just to see this brand of Twins baseball is just a little bit different, but I do think that's why you're seeing them start to climb back into relevance a little bit. I know they're, I believe, 6 games out of first. But I feel like they'll be right in the heart of the AL wildcard race. They've got a little bit of everything. They've got some grit, and they are the type of team that keeps plugging away, and they'll pull away from you late. They have good team endurance. They have good team at bats. They don't lose focus. They run the bases well. I was very impressed with what I saw during this series, especially over their first 3 games in this series, which they didn't win the first 3. And game 4, this was a 4-game series, so it was back-to-back 4-game sets. They were just the A's were just fresh off getting swept up in Toronto in the 4-game set. They were on the verge of doing that once again. The losing streak is now at 9 at this point, and they have lost coming into Sunday's game. They had lost 19 of their last 20 games. It's unfathomable. I mean, just because a lot of these games they've had a lead at some point, or they're losing by a 2-3 run margin. Now this series is a little bit different. This is the first one you can see they just got flat out beat, and the Twins are just beaten to their own drum, and they caught the A's at the right time for their purposes too as well. So they like I said, they were very in control from start to finish in this series in those first 3 games, and you want to see if it would continue, if they would complete the 4-game sweep as well. Headed to game 4 of the series. Now we are going to recap this one because there was quite a bit more good news in this one, and some good feelings up and down the lineup as the A's needed to finally snap this 9-game losing streak, which has which is just inconceivable considering they had recently gotten off the schneid of an 11-game losing streak. It's just, well, anyway, don't want to dwell on those today. Game 4 featured a matchup of David Festa taking the ball for the Twins, going up against right-handed pitcher Mitch Spence. A's in this one, there's a reason why we're covering it. They said enough is enough. After an RBI single by Brent Rooker, and with 2 outs, recently recalled Max Muncy announced he's back with a huge statement with a no-doubt 3-run blast on the top of the building and left, and a very, very confident bat flip. If you did not get a chance to see it, please go check it out. He was feeling himself. He was feeling the moment, and he feels as if he belongs, helping out the team in a big way with 2 outs to cap a 4-run first inning. Good feelings in West Sacramento. A's are up 4-0 after 1. In the third, Jay Willie keeps that hot hitting going. One of the best, hitting like one of the best shortstops in baseball. Jacob Wilson sends a drive to left. See you later. His 7th home run on the year. It's now 5-0. After a Rooker single, Tyler Soderstrom, he made sure to extend our A's Day 5-series home run prediction streak as he smashes a 2-run home run to center field. It's now 7-0 A's after 3. What a change of events. I'll tell you, after all this losing, it had to feel good for the guys to jump out to such a big lead and command. Could this be a happy day after all? It was so early, so you didn't know for sure, especially the launching pad that Sutter Health Park has played at so far early in this campaign as we flip the page, getting closer and closer to that summer heat. In the 4th, Twins finally get on the board via solo home run by Matt Wallner. That was Mitch Spence's sole blemish in this one. Besides, the A's, of course, would answer right back. That's what they've always been doing. Not really. But they have had that fight, and it had gone away a little bit over the last 3 weeks. For the majority, it was good to see it come back in a big way in the bottom half, as the A's would knock out David Festa after a Lawrence Butler walk with 2 outs in the inning. Festa just lasted 3 2/3 innings, 6 hits allowed, 8 runs, 2 walks, 6 Ks. Not good indeed. On would come Alcala and out of the bullpen, and the A's would give him a very warm welcome with another 2-out rally of their own. Jacob Wilson single and a Brent Rooker walk before, yep, here comes that man again. Tyler Soderstrom didn't want to take any chances of this losing streak extending any longer. He drives a 3-run home run to left field, number 14 on the year, and his 2nd of the game. It's now all A's 11-1 after 4. Mitch Spence was good in this one and completed 5 frames. Spence, he went 5 innings, 3 hits allowed, 1 run, 1 walk, 4 Ks. A's would get 3 more via an RBI single by Max Schumann in the 5th, and 2 more via a 2-run double by Brent Rooker in the 7th off position player and former Athletic Jonah Bride. Twins would get 2 more in the 7th, but needed many more in this one. Couldn't complete the sweep. A's went Spence to Newcomb to Kelly to Miller. Ball game over. A's win this one 14-3. They snap a 9-game losing streak. So, obviously not the series result that they hoped for, but definitely was good to end off on a positive note there. I'm sure this was a game where it just kind of felt like, not that it's going to necessarily solve any long-term issues that this A's team now faces here in 2025, but it had to feel good to win one. It had to feel good to jump out to a lead and hold it and not lose it, and they were dominant about it today. That's exactly what the kind of start and how you protect your house. This is, and that's a young team. Obviously, you've seen the roller coaster. Started out pretty well, not necessarily at home, but this team's actually performed very well on the road. Now going through this little 3-week slide, let's see how they come out of it. Let's see if I know I've kind of said this on some past shows, trying to help speak it into existence, that this team needs to find a way to start putting some good games back to back, like they had early in the year, where they were winning some series, splitting series, not just getting flat out beat like this, or having a lead and blowing it late, losing different ways, different guys not doing the little things right. Got to start putting it all together. And I think this was a good one where the A's didn't really have, they were in control of this one through 3, and it was really over by the 4th, when it was 11-1. So hopefully with where they're at right now, they're 24 and 40, 11 games out of first. Don't worry about that. It's one game at a time. And the good news is you're not at the halfway point yet. It just can't get worse. It has to get better. And this is a great series, I think, that's coming up where they can, build upon what they did in their final frame with the Twins and hopefully get a home series this weekend against the Orioles. And we'll get to that preview here in a few minutes or so. Yeah, just some thoughts. The offense was really impressive today. Obviously, shout out to Tyler Soderstrom. Had the A's Day prediction correct again. He hits 2 more home runs, another multi-home run game. He really likes to hit them in bunches. But he was something else. I mean, driving one to center field, one to left. It's something that he has such pretty consistent and steady power, but to all fields. So it's not always just he's a dead pull hitter or he's a big backside swinger because he's a little bit late. No, I think he's very adaptable at the plate, and for him to be able to show out for the team there and have a big game and really make sure to put a stamp on this one. 2 home runs, I believe he had 6 RBIs, monster game from Soderstrom, really being the leader that this team needs. I think Rooker was on base all day. It felt like he had at least 2 hits and a walk or 2. Actually, I think Rooker had 3 hits. Actually, excuse me. So he's starting to really heat up too. Butler's putting together good at bats. They're working deeper pitch counts. There's a lot. You're starting to see glimmers of this team getting out of it. And I know it's just one game here, blip on the radar, but when you have a game where it's 14 runs, 17 hits, I'm not saying this team's going to go on a run or win 5, 6 in a row, but I do think they can win a couple games here and there. I do think they can win this series this weekend, and then who knows what will happen from there. You get a little bit more confidence. Obviously, you're seeing all these interchangeable parts with all these transactional moves, with getting all these young guys back and forth. Obviously, some injuries have something to do with that too as well. So there's a lot to navigate, and it's been kind of a little bit of a revolving door in that clubhouse the last few weeks, and just kind of trying to find – it's that combination of trying to find the right group to go forward with. But then, like we mentioned, also there are some business, just transactional side of things that happen. Who has player options between AAA and whatnot? Also, who's ready at AAA? Just there's a lot that goes on to running a major league organization, obviously. And if you've been keeping up with the transactions, you've been seeing there's been a lot. And we'll cover what's been going on over this past week since we last spoke. But yeah, and Mitch Spence, just my final point. I think he did a great job stepping into this start today. He is similar to Osvaldo Bido in terms of type of pitcher he is. He's kind of that swing man. He's a starter, but also can provide very valuable length out of the bullpen in a long relief kind of situation too as well. He went 5 innings in this one and was pitching with the lead all day. So definitely just did his job. He had just the 1 home run allowed, but hey, when you're up 7-0, it's a solo job. It's not gonna put a dent in anything really. So he just went out there. He attacked. I think he all knows was pretty effective working both sides of the plate and really limited that traffic. Only the 1 walk, 4 Ks. It's good to see. And, hopefully, like I said, that could be a positive to get this pitching staff back on track. This pitching staff's been getting battered a little bit. They've dropped to have the worst ERA in all of baseball. So it's been a rough patch for sure. There've definitely been a lot of slugfests over the last couple of weeks or so. Hopefully this is a good sign of, okay, this can be contagious. All right, Spence puts up a good start. Now let's see what happens when JP Sears takes them out against Baltimore, and then Sevy, and then whoever goes Sunday. And then, everyone just wanted to, and I think in a positive way, one up the guy that went before them, just to build on that positive momentum. JP Sears takes the ball tonight. Maybe he's like, I want to go 6 and give up no runs. And he does that. And then Sevy's like, I want to go 7 and give up that. Those are the kind of the positive affirmations that you want that are going to build up your teammates, as compared to just taking it upon yourself in an individual fashion and trying to do too much. That can also get contagious in a negative way and just lead to bad habits. So it was good again. A's win this one 14-3. They lose this series 3 out of 4. We're going to wash it away. That's that. It's over, done with. Nothing can be changed. It's all written in stone. We are going to switch it up and go right ahead and talk about the next series that is beginning tonight, with first pitch scheduled for 7:05, as the Baltimore Orioles will be in West Sacramento at Center Health Park for the weekend. to take on your green and gold. But before we do our series preview, we're just going to thank Visit Mesa with a quick ad read, and then we will be right back after this short message. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back after this. Welcome to Mesa, Arizona, a destination for every season. Experience a destination where adventure, culture, and culinary experiences are limitless. As the gateway to the stunning Sonoran Desert and Tonto National Forest, Mesa invites you to explore its scenic waterways, kayak through winding canyons, or paddleboard along the Salt River. For a one-of-a-kind desert adventure, ride the waves at Revel Surf at Cannon Beach, the country's first surf park of its kind. Downtown Mesa is a vibrant hub, home to the Mesa Art Center, public art, award-winning breweries, and local shops. Food lovers can explore the fresh foodie trail and the diverse flavors of Mesa's Asian district. Sports fans can experience MLB spring training with the Chicago Cubs and Athletics, or visit one of North America's largest youth sports complexes. As the world's first autism-certified city, Mesa is dedicated to accessibility and inclusivity for all visitors. Got to check it out. Visit Mesa, home of the Athletics spring training. Go visit City Limitless tomorrow. Okay, let's jump ahead and talk about the Baltimore Orioles. So as we have been doing, we want to first know thy enemy. The Baltimore Orioles, they come in with a win-loss record of 25-36 and are last in the American League East. In their last series, they did pull out a sweep against the Seattle Mariners in their three-game set. They won 5-1, 3-2, and 4-3. Just to go over some team stats, it kind of is apparent why they have been struggling. They just haven't had much consistency across the board offensively or on the mound. Now, here is how it all breaks down. They are hitting .237 for batting average as a team, which is 22nd in baseball. They've slugged 66 home runs, which was 12th in baseball, but they've only scored 234 runs, which is 25th in baseball. So it seems like they're generating a lot of power, but not necessarily generating a lot of traffic on the base paths. Solo home runs do not win games more times than not. On the mound, they are pitching to a 5.10 ERA, which is 28th in baseball. The A's are 2 slots behind them. And they have logged 487 strikeouts, which is 23rd in baseball. And they've allowed 204 walks, which is 17th. Okay. Now that we know a little bit of the foundation of what the Orioles have done on the 2025 campaign so far, let's go ahead and break down the pitching matchups and the game time. So game one is tonight, Friday night. Dean Kremer will be taking the hill for the Baltimore Orioles, going up against J.P. Sears. First pitch is scheduled for 7:05 p.m. Pacific time. Game two, which will be tomorrow, Saturday night, Charlie Morton will be taking the mound against Luis Severino. That is a 7:05 start time. And then game three will be Tomoyuki Sugano going up against, well, we don't know yet. I'm sure that'll get updated by some point tonight or tomorrow. The A's have not announced their game three starting pitcher in the series. The first pitch is a day game. It's going to be scheduled for 1:05 p.m. Pacific time. And now just want to give you a few hitters to keep an eye out for the Baltimore Orioles as you watch this weekend. So first, it's Gunnar Henderson, their shortstop. He is the face of their franchise. Had a slow start to the year. He's starting to pick it up. He's hitting .257 on the year with 8 home runs, 16 runs batted in, and a .749 OPS. Second baseman, Jackson Holliday, son of former Major League ball player Matt Holliday, is hitting .260 on the year with 7 home runs, 26 RBIs, and a .735 OPS. In center field, Cedric Mullins, the longtime Oriole, he's hitting .232 on the year with 10 home runs, 31 runs batted in, and a .771 OPS. And right fielder, and he can play first base and DH too as well, Ryan O'Hearn. He's having a hot start to the year, kind of lost in the shuffle of the disappointment of the result of the team as a whole, which did actually lead to their manager, Brandon Hyde, getting fired, and they're being led by an interim guy right now. But anyway, Ryan O'Hearn, he's hitting .326 on the year with 9 home runs, 23 runs batted in, and a .931 OPS. That is a nice start to the campaign. All right. And while we are on the topic of the Orioles, let's talk about and get to know a little bit more about what these arms on the Orioles that the A's will be lined up against have going for them. So Dean Kremer is the Orioles starter for tonight. On the year, he is pitching to a 5-3 win-loss record with a .470 ERA. In 67 innings logged, he has allowed 75 hits, 18 walks, 51 strikeouts, and has accrued a 139 whip. He works with a 6-pitch mix: fastball, a cutter, which is one of his 2 new pitches that he has added to his arsenal for the 2025 campaign, sinker, splitter, that's the other new pitch, curveball, and slider. His average fastball velocity is 93.2 miles per hour. He misses bats with a high spin rate on his 4-seam fastball and a plus curveball. So his 2 pitches, that's what he feels most confident in, and that is what's gotten him to be in a big league rotation. His thing, his MO, he has all the potential in the world, but he's just been so inconsistent up and down. There's some days he'll throw 6-7 innings and look like one of the best arms in baseball. And there'll be other times he can't even get out of the 3rd inning and he'll get blasted. It's just a matter of getting the command of his secondary pitches more consistent, because he does have it with that fastball. He does have it with the curveball, but I think as he learns these 2 new pitches, he'll get even better. I think he wants something to be able to tunnel and work off other pitches in his arsenal so that hitters can't sit on one location or sit on one pitch. Just want him to be able to last longer than 2-3 times around in a lineup potentially. So yeah, he's definitely been better of late. I think the more confident he gets in his 2 new pitches, the better of a pitcher he's going to become. And the Orioles can use it. I mean, I do think their rotation as a whole is pretty decimated with a couple injuries. But I think just they have a lot of other issues going on. They didn't really add depth to the rotation coming into the 2025 year. So that was a big question mark. So you wonder if now you're kind of seeing the fruits of this labor, that the fact that Kremer needs to step up in the situation and potentially be higher in the rotation than expected due to need and injury and some ineffectiveness from other guys too as well. So I think he's the kind of guy, it's really flip a coin depending on what version of Kremer you get. If he's someone that's on, he might be a tough customer. He really could be. He's going to be inducing a lot of soft contact, getting balls on the ground. He's going to make you leave you scratching your head. How did they not hit this guy? And he's going to be 7 innings, 1 run. It's going to be a good opportunity if the A's come in locked in, and maybe he isn't, and Kremer isn't necessarily locked in with his command in the first couple innings as he's getting settled in. This could be a potential where they could jump on him early too as well. So we'll see how it all shakes out. And forgot to mention in his last start, Kremer, he did beat the White Sox. He went 6 innings, allowed 6 hits, 1 run, 2 walks, 7 Ks. It was rather sharp, not maybe necessarily against the best opponent, but nevertheless, he shut down a big league lineup. So he does give up that soft contact. He's allowed a 36.7 hard hit percentage and doesn't walk many, 6.2% walk rate, which is 79th percentile in all baseball and all qualified pitchers, according to Baseball Savant. All right. Game 2 starter is going to be a more familiar name, but just in a new place. Right-handed pitcher Charlie Morton gets the ball, and he's not having the best year so far. He's pitching to a 2-7 record with a 6.20 ERA and 53 2/3 innings pitched. Has allowed 58 hits, 52 strikeouts logged, and a 1.50 whip. So that's, if you know Charlie Morton, that's just not who he is. But at this stage in his career, he's 41 years old. He's in his 18th big league season. So tip of the cap to him. That's a hard thing to do, especially as a pitcher. Especially you're seeing these increase of injuries that you're seeing with arms and guys not being durable. Charlie Morton is someone that's been very reliable, very durable, and he's going to make you look stupid with that hammer curveball of his. That's been his MO. So looking forward to, even though he's immersed in one of his maybe not his better seasons, it's always a pleasure getting to see him throw, because every now and again he is going to be able to find it. He knows how to pitch. He's a crafty veteran, and there's a reason why he's been in the big leagues for 18 seasons. So in his last start, sure enough, he beat the White Sox as well, lasted 6 2/3 innings, allowed 6 hits, 1 run, no earned, 1 walk, and 7 Ks. So that is more of the Charlie Morton that we have come to know. And if you are a baseball fan, go look. And if you don't know him, go look at his baseball reference and look how many lines of numbers there are. That can really tell you how long a guy has been around. Definitely a clutch postseason pitcher and someone just a good veteran clubhouse guy. And I'm sure the guys in that Orioles rotation love him. It's just the stage of the career. I'm sure they wish they would have gotten him sooner. But nevertheless, he'll be getting the ball in this one. He's working with a 5-pitch mix: curveball, fastball, sinker, changeup, and a cutter. His average fastball velocity is 93.9, which I believe is actually a slight uptick from last year's fastball velocity. So wonder if he's feeling a little healthier, a little bit better out there on the mound, which is great to hear. His pitches do have a high spin rate, so that is what has made him so effective over the career. It just appears to be a faster pitch and a heavier fit pitch than actually appears, so making life very difficult on many hitters over the course of his long career. And he does have a high fly ball rate, and he does struggle against left-handed hitters. So that's a combination that I can see some guys really stepping up. Maybe JJ Bleday getting recalled from AAA. That's a good way to get back into the swing of things. But hey, Lawrence Butler's been coming up with a lot of extra base hits, not to give away anything. ... And a high fly ball rate, you might see some homers, especially on Saturday. It's not going to be as chilly as a Bay Area night would be. Obviously having that different temperature, the ball flight's going to carry a little bit more in Sacramento at night, and no upper deck. I'm expecting some action, some offensive scoring on especially Saturday's game. But if you do give in to that curveball and you don't lay off of it, even when he's throwing it sometimes for a strike, sometimes for it to just miss, well, then that may lead to a long night for you. Again, wondering how you're not hitting this guy that's, a 6.2 ERA. I know that's not who he typically has always been, but that's where he's at right now. So if you're the A's, you got to take advantage of that opportunity and do some damage. Now, the toughest customer I do think they will face this year is a 35-year-old right-handed pitcher rookie, Tomoyuki Sugano, who signed a one-year contract this past offseason to come over from the Nippon League in Japan. He pitched for the Yomiuri Giants for 12 years. He won the MVP, I believe, 3 times over there, and he was named the Sawamura Award, which is the Nippon League equivalent of our Cy Young Award here in MLB baseball. He won that twice, which is, so very impressive, good resume. Really nothing left to prove, and I think this was always a dream of his, was to come over, pitch in the major leagues, prove that he can get it done here. I do think that's why he's on a one-year contract. Although he's showing how effective he is, I can't see why he wouldn't stay a little bit longer unless we'll see. Don't know. The Orioles as well as their fans do. So Orioles, for some reason, Orioles fans, if you're listening to this, chime in, comment on our social media. Always love to talk baseball with everyone. So let us know what you think about Sugano this year and what his plans may be beyond. But on the 2025 campaign, he's pitching to a 5-3 win-loss record with a 3.04 ERA in 12 games started. He's pitched 71 innings, only 40 strikeouts, 11 walks allowed, and a 104 whip. So he doesn't allow a lot of traffic, but he doesn't generate a lot of swing and miss, and he doesn't strike out a lot of hitters. Obviously, that's such a big gap between innings pitched and strikeouts that you don't see very often, especially in the modern game. He works with a 6-pitch mix: splitter, sweeper, fastball, cutter, sinker, curveball. And his fastball average is 92.3, so nothing overpowering, but he pitches the contact, like I said. So he has a 14.2 K percentage, which is in the 4th percentile in all baseball, one of the lower ones. That's just something I couldn't – I wanted to make – I looked back as I was doing my research. I wanted to make sure I was writing that stat down correctly, that 71 innings pitched, 40 strikeouts. That's correct coming into tonight. And he's someone that he's going to have guys beat the ball into the ground, especially that splitter. He'll start knee height, end up shin height last second, and have guys just beating that ball into the ground. And if that pitch is working, he's going to be very tough to figure out. He's a command artist. He works both edges of the plate, generates some decent chase. Now, while he's not getting a lot of swing and miss consistently, when that swing and miss happens, it does seem to be outside of the zone with the movement on his pitches. With a 31.5% chase rate, pretty good, which is 81st in all baseball, 81st percentile in all baseball. He just peppers both side with that cutter sweep against the right-handed hitter with both pitches tunneling well. So that's a little bit of his MO. Just wanted to kind of cover his arsenal and repertoire. It's the first year we're seeing Sugano, so he doesn't have any history against any A's hitters or anything like that. In his last start, he went 7 innings, allowed 5 hits, 1 run, 1 walk, and 5 Ks in a 5-1 victory against the White Sox. All right, now let's get ahead to the fun part and see if we can keep the home run prediction streak alive. So I think we kind of gave it away because that's, as kind of putting my notes together for the preview, kind of had a feeling where I was going to be leaning towards, and I Don't want to pick the exact game because you never know what can happen. But my prediction based on they're going to see 3 righties this weekend. This guy's been driving the baseball a lot more consistently, having better at bats. You're seeing the extra base hits rise. You're seeing the confidence level rise. Lawrence Butler's going to hit a home run this weekend at least. And I do think a few guys are going to homer over the weekend with who the Orioles are putting up on the mound. They're fly ball guys. Well, Kremer and Morton are fly ball guys. Sagano is not. There's going to be an opportunity for some runs to be scored. And my other prediction is in the first 2 games at least, bet the over. I do think if you're into that, I do think those are going to hit. So if you're trailing or anything like that, now we're not placing any bets over here. I'm just making predictions. I guess maybe I wish I did, especially with that 5 home run streak coming into this series here, but that's not what this is about. Just having fun with it. Just want to see when we're right, when we're wrong, all of that good stuff. So home run prediction, Lawrence Butler over the weekend. And our series prediction, we do think the A's are finally going to win a series once again. I do think they're going to win 2 out of 3 against the Orioles, even though the Orioles are coming off of that good stretch of sweeping the Seattle Mariners. I do think something's got to give here. I do think the A's are going to funnel that positive momentum they gained from their last game and take it into this one. I do think they're going to come out and win tonight 6-1. And then tomorrow, I think tonight actually, it's good. Like I said, I think it's going to be more scoring. Tonight, I think they're going to win 8-5. And then tomorrow, I think they're going to win 10-6. And then Sunday, I think they'll drop the rubber match of this one 6-1. I do think they won't necessarily figure out Sugano. The unfamiliarity, I think, is going to be on the Orioles side. And I think the Orioles are going to have some pride there. They're still as much as this team has been struggling, there's still talent up and down that lineup. So I do think there's enough pride in that room to avoid getting swept in this one. So those are our predictions. Let's give you some notable transactions and injury updates before we wrap up today's show. So like I mentioned earlier in the show, JJ Bleday is back from AAA. He had been really tearing it up down there. He seemed to have figured something out, and he has recently been recalled due to a spot opening up with injuries because Gunnar Hoglund and Miguel Andujar are headed to the 15-day IL. Max Muncy is also recalled after cracking the opening day roster and getting sent down. He is back and hammered an absolute no-doubt home run. Again, please go check out how he reacted. I was very shocked that I saw that. I didn't think he had that in him. TJ McFarland, he's activated back from the IL and his Stockton Ports rehab assignments. Justin Sterner and Elvis Alvarado have been optioned to AAA. I was surprised by the Sterner move. Hopefully it's just a transactional thing. He'll be back soon. CJ Alexander and Drew Avens have been designated for assignment. I do believe both will clear waivers and head back to AAA. A's signed right-handed pitcher Aaron Brooks. Right-handed pitcher Michael Kelly has been activated off of the suspension list. Catcher Johnny Pareda and Seth Brown are both back from AAA. And Seth Brown had been on some kind of a tear. I think in his last 9 games in AAA, he was hitting I think he was hitting 500. It was 21 for 42 with 7 home runs in 9 games, literally turning into the AAA Barry Bonds. How about bring some of that up to Sacramento and help turn this thing around? Would love to see that. Everyone would love to see Seth Brown get it going for sure. And Shea Langoliers found out officially today, actually, that he is headed to the 10-day IL with a left oblique strain. And that is a wrap on this edition of A's Day. We appreciate each and every one of you tuning into our show today. Again, we quickly recap the 4-game series as the Twins took 3 out of 4 in that one, with the A's winning the rubber match of that 4-game series 14-3. We recap that one because we wanted to stick to mostly positivity on this show. Obviously, we're always going to tell it like it is, but we just thought with how the way things have been going, it'd be nice to really harp on something that went really well for the green and gold. And we previewed their next series as the Baltimore Orioles are in West Sacramento to take on the A's at Sutter Health Park. First pitch tonight, 7:05. And we discussed the game starts and pitching matchups for each game of this series. Gave our home run prediction as we believe that Lawrence Butler will go yard this weekend. Fingers crossed, hopefully keeps the A's Day home run prediction streak alive. And we predicted that the A's will win this series 2 out of 3 and start getting back on track. And on next show, we'll be back on Monday as we will recap what went down against the Orioles. We'll look ahead at what their next series is. And might have a fun announcement on Monday, so you'll just have to tune in. Again, thank you so much for kicking off your weekend with us here at A's Day. Once again, I'm your host, Joe Grotto, and thank you. Thank you, thank you. Can't say it enough. Enjoy some A's baseball. Hopefully, some better times and winning times are ahead. Holy Toledo, let's go A's.